I want to mention something that I've spoken about many times. I don't think I've spoken about it here for a while. Some of you are familiar with this story, some of you are not. But Lisa, because you probably haven't heard this before, I think it's important to know that there are probably 5 or 6 things that had to happen for Justice Southbury to become what it became. There were some that were coincidental, some that were intentional. But that very first Sunday, 6 years ago today, when a group of people organized, not by us, but organized by a couple of other people in town, like everywhere else in America, a group of people just kind of got together somewhere and said, enough. And some were black, and some were white, and some were black in black communities, and some were white in white communities, and some were somewhat mixed, as we have a somewhat little bit of mix here in Southbury. And that first Sunday, there were 190 of us stretched all the way from the signs over there, all the way along the road to the green Oxford, Seymour, New Haven sign way over there. It was really powerful. And my family, myself and Kathy, Anna, Julia, and Grace, we were the last people, by choice. You know, it's not like we got there last, but we were at the very end there with our signs that had been given to us by some of the organizers. And there was a black man who used to be a resident of Southbury. And I've spoken before and asked him to come, and he hasn't been able to come. He lives out of state now. I didn't know him then, and I've never met him, but I've spoken to him. And with his camera facing the people of our crowd, he walked in the street, facing everybody, walking by everybody, mostly white faces, and with his camera, he said, he was recording all of us. He said, thank you, 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 all the way to the end where my family was. And I'm so glad we were there, because when he finished, he turned the camera around to himself and very emotionally said, I never knew my town would show up for me. And that meant so much to us. And partly my response to it was, well, why wouldn't you know that? Why would you not have known that this town would do that for you? And if we live in a town where people might not know that, what's wrong? And that was a big reason that Julia and I came the next week. And some of Julia had posted things on social media, pictures of it, and a bunch of her friends said, oh, I wish I'd known about that. I would have come. Are they doing it again? And Julia asked me if they're doing it again. I said, I don't know if they're doing it again. I asked the people who had done it before. I said, hey, are you doing it again? They said, no, we're not doing it again. So well, Julia wants to do it again. I said, yeah, you can do it again. No one stopped me from doing it again. We said, we don't have all the posters. They said, yeah, you can use our posters. So we brought the posters the next week. Jack and Mary Lander in there, like Jack must have been in his 90s and Mary in her late 80s. They left a little early, and they were walking towards the parking lot with their signs. And Julia said, Dad, they're taking our signs. What do we do? I said, well, they seem like they're here. They're probably nice people. Let's just go tell them. So Julia and I walked over, and Julia very sweetly said, would you like help? We can bring the signs back to the pile if you'd like. She said, oh, excuse me. Julia very sweetly asked them if they would like help moving the signs back. And they said, no, that's okay. We'll just bring them next week. And Julia looked at me and said, is there going to be a next week? I said, I guess there's going to be a next week. And shortly after that, I think it was either the third or fourth week, somebody was out here with a sign that said, if you ever wondered what you would have done during the Holocaust or the Civil Rights Movement, you're doing it now. Meaning, if you are home watching about this, nothing wrong with that, but you probably would have been home watching on TV as the Holocaust unfolded and as the Civil Rights era transpired. But if you really felt like you would have done something back then, you can do it now. And those were the kinds of things that got us to keep coming back. But it really was that first moment that set the exact tone for what Justice Southbury is. Because it would be easier to just come hang out at my house every Sunday at 3, or to say, there's a nice restaurant over there with a big table. Let's go there every Sunday at 2. This doesn't have to be difficult. This doesn't have to be out here in the rain and the snow and the 95-degree heat and the 10 below zero cold. It doesn't have to be that. It could just be us gathering in some comfortable place. But the reason that it's important that it's out here is for exactly that reason. So that when Lisa says, I'm moving from Naugatuck to Southbury, and when the mom who told me the reason we chose Southbury, and the reason is because we drove by and saw your rallies as we were coming up from the city, and another mom who said the reason I feel comfortable raising a biracial child in town is because of Justice Southbury. Another mom who told us the reason I feel comfortable raising a trans child in town is because of Justice Southbury. That's why we need to be here, because we need to be a witness out here on the corner every week to show people that you do not do that in our town. That no one has to wonder, would this town come together for me? You bet we will.
Yeah!
Because there's already a group, already formed, already here for 6 years, that says, if you pull that kind of stunt in our town, a shooting, an anti-Muslim, anti-Jewish, anti-LGBT, anti-black, anti-Latino, if you're going to try to bring that in town, we are already here and we're already ready to say, no, not here. It has no home here. So that's why, Lisa, it's important that to know that this started for exactly that reason. So that no one else would ever have to say, I wonder if Southbury would do this. Southbury will do this. So thank you.